Let us help you reach your peak in retirement. It's time for Retirement Elevated with Sean Lee.
Hey everybody, welcome into Retirement Elevated with Sean Lee and myself, talking about stuff dads say here on the podcast this week in honor of Father's Day. We're taping this and dropping this podcast just before Father's Day, I believe. So we thought we'd have a little conversation to look at some stuff that Sean and I are both dads, and we all, have heard some of these things or know some of these things, and we'll see if we can get some financial lessons from them. What's going on, my friend? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Just summertime busyness for us.
Yeah. You and I were just chatting before we hit the record button that the weather's been pretty brutal last week for you guys, this week for us. Oh,
geez.
It's been a hot one. Summer's here.
It's like Jekyll and Hyde out here.
Yeah.
One day it's 101, the next day it's 60.
I think that's the whole country. I swear, I really do. I think it's everywhere. I think Mother Nature has definitely slipped off her meds or something. But anyway, happy Father's Day to you, my friend.
Thank you. Same to you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and all the dads out there, happy Father's Day to you. We thought we'd have a little fun here with some dad-isms. You've got your boy and your daughter there. You do a lot of the sports stuff with them, and so injuries happen and things happen and so on and so forth. So we'll just have some fun with this. I'll toss out a couple of funny type of dad things and see if you can give me a financial correlation for it. Okay.
Sounds good.
I don't know about your dad or how you are as a dad, but with my dad, it was the old school, like you fall down, you get hurt, right? A lot of times if you're looking for that. If that nurture, if you're looking for that, you just really want some loving, you go to mom, right? You fall down, you scrape your knee, something like that. Mom, kisses it, puts Bactine on it, right? Dad says, rub some dirt on it, boy, walk it off, something like that, right? My daughter, we used to play this funny game where she would say something hurts and I would hit her someplace else. I'd frog her like on her leg if she said her arm hurt, and then she wouldn't think about her arm anymore. And she'd always laugh about that. Or she'd say, it's killing me. And I'd say, well, maybe we should amputate it. Maybe we should cut it off if it's hurting that bad. And then she'd laugh and she'd giggle and she'd forget all about it, right? So I think dads bring the humor a lot of times. Clearly we don't think that amputating is the good choice to do, but we tend to do that. So I was thinking about that in terms of the financial aspect. Sometimes, especially right now, it's been a rough week at the time we're taping this, my friend. So people might think, oh my God, the market's killing me. It's time to cut it off, right?
Right. This topic is perfect for me because I'm looking through the notes and I'm looking through everything we're going to talk about. And this is literally everything that we're going to talk about is something that I've said to my kids probably in the last week or so, or I've done in the last week or so. And we talk about, do I need to amputate? Like my son last night at his baseball game, he got hit by a pitch in the leg.
Okay. And
he comes hobbling down to first base, and I'm the first base coach. And no joke, I'm like, are you okay? He's like, it hurts a little bit. I'm like, are you going to be able to run? He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, if you can't, we'll just cut it off. We'll go put you in the dugout. And
that's hilarious.
He kind of looks at me and like, or we can just rub some dirt on it. We can go.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, let's go, Dad. And he was just fine. But you look at these injuries or that discussion when it comes to the financial world, and it almost seems a little ridiculous that there are these massive overreactions to relatively minor problems that really aren't going to last last for a long period of time. We talk about the market and we talk about, the media pundits. Hey, we're going to have a recession. Well, so I'm going to move everything to cash. Well, long term, is that the right thing for your plan? Or is it just a knee-jerk reaction to what's currently happening?
Yeah. And you're cutting off potential growth, and maybe you need to move some to cash. Maybe that's part of the conversation, but maybe not. All of it is, again, that amputation kind of analogy.
Yeah, or you just change your philosophy a little bit, and you get, I'm a big believer that when people are fearful, that's when we get aggressive and greedy, and when people are greedy, that's when we become a little bit fearful. So in today's day and age, there's a lot of negative talk out there, but there's also a lot of things that you can do from a strategic standpoint to take advantage of a depressing market, to take advantage of the overall public being a little bit fearful. Mm-hmm. Other ones, home prices. Home prices are going to keep going up. They're going to keep going up. They're going to keep going up. So maybe I should buy a home now, or I'll never be able to. Well, if you can buy a home now, great. Buy it because you need a place to live, not because you're looking at it as a massive long-term investment. And,
right.
and so So really, when we look at this idea of, oh man, I need to amputate my leg, take a breath, relax a little bit, understand what your plan is doing and what it needs, and try not to amputate your leg just because you got a little minor scrape. It's not going to do you any good.
Yeah, very good. Good point. Good job, Dad. All right, so if that's the case, then you've done the next one. Then, and as you mentioned, it looks like you've done some of these this in the past week. The whole, it's not heavy. I got it. It's awkward. I do this with like, I mean, a lot of, I don't know if it's a guy thing or a dad thing, but we go to the grocery store, you come back, whether the wife goes, you guys go together, you go, whatever. You got 22 bags, and you're like, I'm carrying all 22 at the same time. I don't know if that's lazy because you don't want to make a second trip or what, but it's like, have you got it? Yeah, I got it. It's not heavy. It's just awkward,
You walk all weird, and
yeah,
you're holding on. I did this. My mother-in-law bought my father-in-law an office chair for his birthday, and it was delivered to our house. So it's this big awkward chair. It's in a box. It really wasn't heavy. It was just awkward,
bulky. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm carrying it from our porch to my car because we're gonna take it up to their house. My wife's like, "Oh, let me help you. Let me help you. Let me help you." I'm like, I got it. It's not heavy. It's just awkward. So then I look silly trying to grab the box wherever I can to carry the dang thing. And, I get to the car. She's like, you really didn't have to do that by yourself. Like, it's all right. So, I mean, when you look at the, it's not heavy, it's just awkward in the financial world. It's you haven't lost anything until you sell idea. There are times when you've lost money and it's not going to come back. And your advisor, your broker, whoever it is, just doesn't want to admit it. But more often than not, and even today, we just hit a bear market for the year yesterday at the time of the recording. And fluctuations are going to happen. Those fluctuations, good and bad, are going to happen to the portfolio. And you're going to see losses. However, when you do see losses, it's really important to understand how your plan is going to react, where are you going to drive income if you're pulling out cash or whatnot, and just understand that those losses are in most cases they're temporary, and so you don't necessarily need to overreact and make huge wholesale changes and cut your leg off like we just talked about, but really focus on how the strength of the plan is working.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Than overreacting a little bit and making decisions that may not be in your best
interest. We get in. I mean, right now at the time we're taping this, obviously, the most recent inflation numbers came out this past Friday, so we weren't taping this on a Tuesday. So Friday, Monday, and Tuesday, not good days in the market. Pretty heavy tumbles there due to the inflation numbers, and so people do tend to panic, and they're like, "Look at all the money I'm losing." It's like, well, okay, yes, it's not comfortable, but you technically haven't lost it yet unless you sell it, right? So you have to look at the strategy and the plan. Now, we have no idea where this is going to go. It could keep falling, right? And so, you have the argument, well, maybe I should get out now before it falls further, or I should make some changes or whatever. Maybe, but don't just wholesale make those without talking with your professional or talking with an advisor before you do, so that in case you are thinking about it the wrong way or not taking something else into account that you weren't that you're not normally paying attention to, but they are. So lots of little places where you can make those financial analogies.
Yeah, be the calm in the storm.
There you go. And that's hard to do, right? That's usually your job, right? We panic as the client, and then you're supposed to, you're the captain, so to speak. Or the navigator, maybe. I don't know, one of the two. Yep. All right, so speaking of navigation, how about the whole parking lot thing? Do you do this? Now, I don't do this anymore. Maybe I did when she was younger. I do it now when I'm driving my cool car. Like I take my hot rod out or something like that. Then I'm like, all right, I want to make sure I park it like 1,000,000 miles away from everybody. And I guess maybe I used to do that a little bit too. And she'd be like, hey, here's a parking spot. And I'm like, nah, I'll find a better one. I'll find a better one.
I'm notoriously called the Goldilocks of the parking lot. And it started with my wife. Like, she just kind of said it jokingly. Now my kids tell me it every time we pull into a parking lot. Find a spot, Goldilocks. Like, guys, I don't think hilarious. They understand what I'm looking for when it comes to a spot. One, I drive a bigger vehicle, and
gotta
because
have some
I have
room, right? Yeah.
I need to be able to find a spot where they can open the doors comfortably. That we're not going to get hit by somebody with their doors. So maybe I'm not going to take the closest spot. Maybe I'm going to take the one that's easier to pull into.
That's right.
Or as a dad, I can do the pull through, and so I can just pull straight out of the lot. And in the financial world, we see this, and it's it's this phenomenon that I'm going to try to get as much wealth as I can. I'm going to try to get as much growth as I can. I'm going to look for that next best thing.
Which is what we've been doing, Sean, the last 3 years, right? And that's why now people are hurting in 22 because they've probably been taking more risk than they should have.
Exactly. And unfortunately, I've been an advisor since 2002, so I've gone through a lot of different corrections and recessions and bear markets throughout my career. And we see this in a lot of cases where there's these normal cycles where the markets, 2008 till when COVID hit, even the year COVID hit up until this year, the markets really ran pretty steady, straightforward. It wasn't that hard to make a return in a portfolio.
Oh yeah, from 9 to 19. Well, from 9 to 21, yeah, you could basically pick an index and you probably did okay.
Yeah, you did just fine. You could throw your money at at a dartboard and you could do well. However, if you don't have a strategy to understand how you're going to drive income, how you're going to create cash flow when you need it, and you never turn down that dial, you're getting hit pretty hard right now.
Oh yeah.
And it's market corrections. Like I said, market corrections are normal, but if you don't have a strategy and you're trying to accumulate just a little bit more, you could end up taking a loss at an inopportune time, and then that affects your whole plan, or your whole retirement strategy if you don't have a plan.
And a great way to wrap this up into that analogy of the perfect parking spot. You found it, you searched, you drove around, you got and you come back out of the store and somebody put a freaking shopping cart right next to you.
Yeah.
Right? Or the worst looking vehicle in the lot parked right next to you when you come out. You're like, really? I spent all that time, and then your kids laugh at you, right? So.
Oh man, that's it. That is an everyday occurrence when my kids are in the car.
There you go. All right, well, good stuff. Happy Father's Day to everybody. Again, some stuff that dads say that we guys say and maybe do, and some little financial lessons with that. There's a lot going on, so make sure that you're making the right reactions for things that are happening for you, and not just big wholesale knee-jerk reactions. If you've got some concerns, definitely reach out to Sean and the team, 855-50-RETIRE, 855-50-RETIRE, or stop by the website, elevatemyretirement.com. That's elevatemyretirement.com. You can subscribe to the podcast as well on Apple, Google, Spotify, or whatever platform you like to use. Just type in Retirement Elevated in the search box, or again, find it all at elevatemyretirement.com. Sean, thanks for hanging out, my friend. Have a great Father's Day.
Hey, thanks, man. Same to you.
We'll see you next time here on Retirement Elevated with Sean Lee.
Investment advisory services offered through Elevated Capital Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor.